Welcome to American History Notes. These are notes I've made on my study of American history, and I hope they're some benefit to you. And if you don't agree with them, that's fine. What I say, you can always put that in the comments. I always learn by disagreement, and I always examine what somebody says to see why they said it, or what the evidence is, or why my belief or what I've come to understand is wrong. And I've learned a lot that way. So hope you do too. But anyway, let's start with American History Notes. So today, I'm going to start with the area of New England on the North American coast wasn't referred to as such until 1616. Before that, the colonists referred to it as Norumbega. In the native Algonquin language family, the largest in eastern North America at the time of the English colonization, the name for the coastal areas was Dawnland. In Massachusetts, the name for a group of Native Americans in a language and Algonquin language family, Dawnland was the place where the sun arose. The people who lived there were called by Native Americans further inland the people of the first light. Using the science of glottochronology, scientists have tried to figure out the age of certain languages and when they diverged from a common ancestor. By this method of conjecture or educated guessing, many scholars have ascertained that the New England coast began to be inhabited just a few centuries before Christ. The previously mentioned Hopewell culture was probably the ancestor of both the Northeastern Native Americans and their languages. And I've discussed this about the moving out around the earth from the flood, from the Middle East, the Tower of Babel, in my Bible studies. Remember, God dispersed human families, and there's initial migration, fast and immediate, all over the world, and then there's waves of migrations. British fishing vessels probably reached Newfoundland as early as the 1480s. In 1501, just 9 years after Columbus's first trip, the Portuguese explorer Gaspar Corte Real kidnapped 50 Indians from the area which is now the state of Maine. He was astonished, he wrote, to find that they were wearing items that would only have come from the Italian peninsula city of Venice. It is believed by scholars that the reason he had such an easy time of kidnapping these people was because they were already used to dealing with Europeans. Charles Mann tells us that the earliest written description of the people of the first light was by Giovanni da Verrazzano, the Italian working for France, who in 1523 tried to discover a route to Asia by sailing around North America. He had what was once the world's longest suspension bridge named after him, which connects Brooklyn with Staten Island and New York Bay. Excuse me. Sailing north of the Carolinas, he wrote that everywhere Verrazzano saw, the land was densely populated, which is hardly what we are led to believe in school. The European was struck by the healthy physical specimens they encountered, although they were put off by the practical use of animal fat as a hair adornment to keep away insects and the heavily tattooed bodies that would be at home in modern-day Baltimore. By 1610, Britain alone had about 200 vessels operating off of New England and Newfoundland. Hundreds more came from France, Spain, Portugal, and Italy. All of these sailors reported that New England was thickly populated and well defended. Samuel de Champlain, the French explorer, who has a large freshwater lake named after him, visited Cape Cod hoping to establish a base there, but decided it was too crowded there already. Some of the names of the tribes in the Northeast by the time of the European contact were the Iroquoian-speaking Haudenosaunee and the Algonquin-speaking Micmac, Passamaquoddy, the Eastern and Western Abenaki, the Mohican, the Caripi, the Nipmuc, Massachusetts, Narragansett, and Mohegan Pequot tribes. Now, next, I'm going to talk about the catastrophe that contact with Europeans meant first for the Native American, and the huge, just a disaster. You would not even, it's amazing. So anyway, we'll talk about that next, and I hope you'll watch and have a good day.